Okay, new day and go back over my notes on a few things. Um, Coincidental occurrence before my God encounter. Um, I finished my yoga teacher training the first 200 hours and was working towards my 500 hours with classes. Advanced training classes, and I was in a pranayama class. There's a few other people in the class. One of them was a neurosurgeon in the area, and she, the last class I remember going to, there was another guy in the class that I had taken some of his yoga nidra classes, and I spoke with him about a lot of kind of stuff I was studying at the time. And he had mentioned telepathy that day, and I remembered my experience that I shared in the video, and told them about it. And this other woman overheard us talking, and she's like, she said that when she was younger, that her and her sister were telepathic. She's like, I never told anybody that. And so at the end of the class, and I remember just us talking like, oh, it'll be so cool to talk about it next class or whatever. And I had my God encounter, and I'll kind of get into the aftermath of how my life kind of turned upside down. And I totally forgot about the classes until I got a certificate in the mail, I guess, because I paid for it. But anyhow, I thought that was interesting. That happened around that time. Also, when it comes to believing in God, I think there are some steps that we go through, whether we know we're searching or not. It's just something we do on a deeper level. And one of my favorite things to say is that God really likes skeptics because they don't take him for granted. At the point when God came to me, I kind of lost that belief in God. I was raised Catholic, but in church, and I've talked about this in some videos. I didn't pray. I didn't really understand the concept of Jesus, and in my family we didn't really talk in depth about it. It's just you just believe what you're told and memorize stuff. And so I never prayed to Jesus. I just prayed to God, and I always just kind of had a different understanding of what God was outside of church boundaries. So anyway, but when it came to when I was married, my husband didn't believe in God at all, and I think it kind of like I was that was fine with me. I understood why he didn't, but it wasn't so I couldn't really talk about it with him. I could tell him what I thought, but it's not like he really understood what I was saying. So I don't know. When the yoga thing came, it was like feeling the physical energy going through my body, understanding kind of how things affect, how you can almost manipulate the body by reading these chakras, or understand like you can communicate with it and have some control. So then I was just feeling like, well, we're all just reacting to each other's energy, and how to kind of surf that. So I didn't think about, at that point it was just like, oh well, God is just a concept of energy. I don't think I really bothered, acknowledging giving out gratefulness to the universe, but not acknowledging a certain entity. Anyhow, and I could go into how I kind of see God. I think you can go through steps like acceptance that there is no God at all. I definitely went through phases like that even during my belief in God, testing myself with that, being like, which way would I choose to live? Either He does exist. What does it hurt to have faith? Just kind of choosing which way I want to live. Then also accepting that we are God, that there is no God, that this is up to us. What's your reaction to that? What is your deep inner core reaction to that? Understanding that God is like an element within everything, and just a basic part of how things form and communicate with each other, and are able to bond, and not just stay separate. Things can always fall apart. So I kind of think of God as like our intelligence or our abstractness, the field in which we have to create new ideas, that space that exists. Not that God decides this for us, but the fact that that space is there at all. The ability to create new ideas, to have a synapses, a new cell formed, or where does this space to keep extending ourselves come from? And even with that, if He is like an element, even elements have a sense, an entity, a sense of a spirit to them. So if we can separate God speaking to us and messages from God and Spirit, then it is something that is its own its own entity. And I think that He speaks to us, where we are. You don't have to put on a suit to connect to God. You don't have to go into a church. You don't have to be thinking about it. Because I think what people think the formal way of searching or being spiritual is just some idea of how it should be, and not really what it what it really is. That we can't hide from Him, and we don't have to search. That we just need to learn to listen, and really part of being able to listen is being able to believe that we're worthy of it. And I think that's one of the major issues, is being in the society we have for so long. It's not very conducive to that type of transformation. But it is. But it is. So, you think about things like computers, they're almost physical manifestations of, people trying to create God, recreate what God is, a medium to connect, all these types of things. Computers having consciousness, robots think and feel. Anyways, okay, go. So, there's a few things I left out that, because there's so much that came to me all at once, I'll probably just spit things out, and maybe this is all just strange enough that you won't notice. Blend in with the rest of the weirdness. But certain things that He would tell me, I believe everything comes at a certain time, so sometimes I'll forget things, but I know it's because I need to remember them at a certain moment, for some synchronicity or confirmation or some kind of surprise. So anyway, sometimes I can just spit things out. Hell, okay. Hell, how it's like the wind. An example. Okay. So when you receive this type of communication, it's almost like you download things very quickly. It's like speaking to the wind and just you're just flooded with all this information about whatever you're engaged in. Your mind energy is connecting to. So the things I leave out, I'm just trying to. I have notes upon notes because it's just like it happens in layers, and there's so much. So we talk about. I talked about how he shocked me during me talking about the autism and everything. This was before. So he's telling me about how people are going to die, and it's almost just like excess waste, like energy that's recycled. Like sometimes you have a trash pile, you know what I mean? Compost. So there may be some spirits that have to be used for this as a vessel for this energy. Otherwise, we'd all hold a piece of it. How that is extinguished, vanquishing, and all that stuff, I kind of just leave to God. But the way I interpreted it, the way it was shown to me as a part of the functioning of the way the universe has always functioned. He would say things like, there was, we're all African. He showed me how the world has changed in the many ways in the many different forms that it's been, and how we came to be in the different places that we are, just the different weavings of tribes and colors and cultures and but almost, you think about we are the physical, we are expressions of God, we are God split up, woven in different ways and stuffed all back together on this earth. So there were things like that, and so talking about the way that the earth is, you kind of just understand everything at once, so there's no like it's good or bad, or it's just like, oh, interesting. And he was saying that, so what it's like to be in hell is you're sent to the core of the earth to replenish the core of the earth. That's what the negative energy, where it needs to be for the gravitational pull to be correct with the ships, to bring us into the right frequency because of the speed. And all of these things fall into the line that I just can't speak fast enough or efficiently enough to get it all out. But if anybody have questions on anything, I don't mind going in depth. But I'm just trying to get everything out.